This morning we will talk about lesson 330 from the workbook, I will not hurt myself again today. I'm not going to actually talk about the lesson itself. I'm really just going to focus on the title and what the title means and how that can be helpful to us as we go through our day. The bottom line with A Course in Miracles is that it doesn't matter how well you understand its theory, how well you could spout its metaphysics. What really matters is how you live it, and how you live it day in and day out in all the practical situations that everybody experiences. Experiences with our own body, living with bodies of others, working with bodies, looking at bodies on the news, dealing with all the kinds of situations that all normal people are confronted with. And the idea is to do it differently. And this lesson points out, and in fact the whole course really, in a sense, can be seen as a commentary on this, that we are not aware how we hurt ourselves. And we're not talking about hurt ourselves, cutting a finger when we're slicing a bagel, or burning ourselves when we touch a hot stove or something. So we talk about how we hurt ourselves by choosing the teacher of hurt. Because the teacher of hurt is the ego, of course, and it believes that it hurt God, so we would not be hurt. In other words, that it was hurting us to stay part of his perfect oneness. And so in order to establish our separation from perfect oneness and be an individual and be unique and be special and be autonomous, God had to be hurt. And of course there's a word for that, and that is sin, that we sinned against our Creator and our source by separating from him. And then of course that what closely follows from that is our guilt. I feel terribly guilty because of what I've done. Out of pure selfishness and self-interest, I sacrificed God, I crucified his son so I could exist. And then I made up a world, the opposite of heaven, of God's world, in which I exist as a clear individual, as a body, separate and distinct from all other bodies. It is impossible then not to feel guilty, and to have, and this guilt is woven into our DNA. It's part of the very fabric of our existence. Just as love is, to just use the same term, love is the fabric of our being. The Course contrasts being and existence. Spirit is the state of being, and existence is the state of the ego. That rather than have the very fabric of our being beloved, the very fabric of our existence is guilt. And it's impossible to be in this world as a body without feeling guilt. This is how we hurt ourselves, because guilt demands punishment. So we're told in chapter 27 that of all the many causes of our suffering, we never thought guilt was among them. Guilt is the cause of our suffering. And even more to the point, it's the mind's decision for guilt that's the cause of our suffering. Because since guilt is non-existent, how can what doesn't exist cause any pain? It's our belief that we are guilty. That's the cause of our pain, whether we're talking about physical pain or psychological pain, or of course both. So to say I will not hurt myself again today is to be aware of how much I do hurt myself. And what does this mean on a practical level? Well, if the cause of my guilt is my belief I separated from my source, and that belief gets reflected in my life here in the world, then I believe, then the source of my guilt here in this world, which is the shadow of my ontological guilt, is that I'm separating from other people. And how do I separate from other people? I judge them. I use them as a means to service my own neediness. That's what the Course calls special love, and then I become dependent on them. Or I use them to serve my neediness of getting rid of my guilt, so I hate them. That's what the Course talks about, special hate and special love. Special hate are all the objects of our grievances, of our anger, of our unhappy thoughts that we attribute to what other people do to us. And special love being when the world and people in the world give us what we think we want. But in both of these conditions, special love and special hate, we're seeing other people as different from us. That's the hurt. That's the source of our pain. Separation, or the belief in separation, is the source of our pain, because that's what leads to our guilt. Once we're clear about that, then to say I will not hurt myself again today means I will not choose my ego, the teacher of hurt, and listen to its guidance that tells me I am better off when I attack other people, when I judge other people, when I can get good and angry at other people and then get everybody else to agree with me. When I say my interests are separate and apart from someone else's. I have what I have taken. I want your innocence, and I take it by making you feel guilty and attack you and judge you, and again get other people to agree with me. So to say lesson 130 and mean it, I will not hurt myself again today, is a promise I make to myself. So for the moment I wake up to the time I go to bed at night, that I will choose the teacher of love, not the teacher of hurt. I will choose the teacher of healing, not the teacher of pain. And that means I must recognize that my judgments of other people, seeing them as different from me, seeing their interests as apart from me, is the source of my unhappiness, of my depression, of my anxiety, of my general unhappiness and sense of malaise. And to truly feel the peace of God, which means I want that peace of God, means I must be willing to give up my judgments. So that's what it means to ask the Holy Spirit or Jesus for help. That I go to them with my judgments and have them remind me that that is not what I want because it hurts me. And today I choose not to hurt myself again.